Today we're looking at the cookie that's loaded with chocolate chips. That is right, it is Chips Ahoy Chewy on the candy aisle. Welcome, welcome one and all. My name is Jeff, and today we have another cookie review, and this time Chips Ahoy takes center stage. This is the Chewy SKU of Chips Ahoy, the slightly softer version of the popular chocolate chip cookie. Oh boy, oh boy. So I haven't reviewed a Chips Ahoy cookie on the channel as of yet. There are, generally speaking, if you are aware or not, there are three major SKUs of Chips Ahoy, three major versions. There is a classic blue packaged Chips Ahoy cookie, which is just the standard Chips Ahoy chocolate chip cookie. That's the blue packaging that you would know, that's been licensed out to other kinds of products, cookie dough, cereals, all sorts of things. And then there are two other main ones, or there have been traditionally. The Chips Ahoy Chewy, which comes in the red packet, and then there's I think it's black, is it? It's Chunks Ahoy. It's like more, it's not chocolate chips, but chocolate chunks. But Chips Ahoy, the brand, has been around for quite a while, since the early 60s. It's a Nabisco product. This is a Canadian packaging, which is why, of course, there is French on it, and also why instead of Nabisco in the corner, it says Christie. That's the same thing that they do here with Oreo, also a Nabisco product. Mondelez or Kraft, whoever, the under companies of Mondelez, they just decided to, in Canada, to brand their snack products, a lot of them, especially the cookie ones, under the Christie branding, which was a Canadian biscuit maker that they bought out at some point or another. Anyway, there's a bit more information on that if you want to watch my Oreo review. Regardless, it is a Nabisco product, and it is a widely available, commercially successful chocolate chip cookie. This is the chewy version of it. So it is slightly softer, a little more doughy. Yeah, I mean, obviously the cookie's been enlarged. They are cookies, 271 grams on this. Like the Canadian packaging for Oreos, and also the American, I think, have the same packaging. It's just a pull off here. Before I pull it off, we're just gonna have a quick look. I'm not gonna go too much into the cookie history here. Because I'm just trying to get through this, because it's pretty straightforward. It's a Chips Ahoy, but also I'll do a little bit more of that when I eventually get around to reviewing the standard blue packaging Chips Ahoy. There are your ingredients if you're interested in them. You can see them there. Semi-sweet chocolate chips, sugar. In 2019, there was a recall of Chewy Chips Ahoy. Did you know that? Because they had solids in them. I don't know, something messed up with the batch. There was like solidified cornstarch in them or something. There's your nutrition facts per 3 cookies. Is that serving size? 3 cookies, I guess? Okay. I wonder how many you get in these packaging. Oh boy, look at that. What do you think you get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 24 cookies maybe, roughly. As you can see, not the biggest chocolate chip cookies. Like if you're making chocolate chip cookies at home, I would certainly make ones bigger than this. They have a lot of chocolate chips. The distribution, of course, is not always perfect, but they do have a lot of chocolate chips. Looks good, though. Smells good. Obviously made by a machine, cooked to perfection. There's the break on that cookie. And it's not super crumbly like a standard Chips Ahoy. I'm so used to eating homemade cookies. This is what I've been doing a lot of lately. That I forget how often when you have packaged cookies from the store, they're very dried out. They're very hard, very crumbly. Because if I were to look at this and say, is that soft? I would say probably no, because I'm used to my homemade cookies, which are extremely soft. And oftentimes I'm eating them warm. I also feel like the doughiness of this, it comes off a little bit, honestly, it tastes a little bit undercooked. It tastes a little bit doughy. Now, I like cookie dough. Don't get me wrong. I'll totally go get cookie dough ice cream. You know, when you're making cookies at home, can't help but eat some of the dough. This tastes a little underdone to me, though. I think that's probably a case of personal preference. How do you like your cookies? I don't think this is underdone. These are so perfectly precise in every way, you know? Like, those cookies are clearly machine made, right? They're just so exacting to the same size specification, a general sense of like chip distribution. I mean, I guess that's just what you get when you buy, commercially packaged chocolate chip cookies. But it still feels pretty processed. And that's actually kind of been maybe a bit of my reasoning for not buying chocolate chip cookies in a package all that often. I don't have anything against Chips Ahoy. I like Chips Ahoy. I don't know that Chewy is the way I would go. I remember as a kid, I liked the Chewy Centers. Was that what it's called? These came out in 1983. So I would have been, whatever, I don't know, 5 when these came out, I guess. But I don't know if they were available right away in Canada. They probably were. I guess I just didn't really have Chips Ahoy that much growing up. So I don't really have a huge nostalgia factor for these. Also, when I got a little bit older, by the time I was about, 10 or 12 or so, in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, in Canada, we had an alternate brand of chocolate chip cookies specifically that were massively successful. That's called the Decadent Chocolate Chip Cookie. I'm sure I will review that at some point in the not too distant future if we're looking at chocolate chip cookies. But that kind of swept the Canadian market. And Chips Ahoy, such that they were available, I believe they were, certainly suffered. And when you see the Decadent cookie, I think you'll understand why. These feel kind of processed. They feel kind of generic. It's still decent, maybe a little overly sweet, and as compared to homemade cookies, certainly not that chewy, but compared to regular store-bought chocolate chip cookies, of course, that's definitely more softer than most cookies would be. These days, though, maybe back in the 80s, that would 100% fly. But these days, if you were looking at this compared to a premium cookie, even a prepackaged cookie, like you can buy soft bake Mrs. Fields cookies, or I don't know what they are. You know what I mean? Like you can buy like single cookies that are soft baked, or you go to the mall has that little cookie place by the food court, right? There's always those cookie places. They're around these days, is what I'm saying. You don't have to just have these. So, I think that a lot of people will have a nostalgia factor here, and there's obviously like the historical context of like when these came out. I think that they would probably be pretty top tier compared to the alternates that are available nowadays. I don't think the Chips Ahoy Chewy really stand out above the rest of the pack. In fact, I think they're a little behind where they should be. So for me, I'm not a massive fan of this. I totally understand its place. I understand why some people might be really attached to the Chewy Chips Ahoy, but I think I'll pass on these moving forward. Walking the Candy Aisle is going to rate Chewy Chips Ahoy. I'm going to rate it a low 3 out of 5. But you let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm very sure some of you would give this a 5 out of 5. It's, maybe it's the best Chips Ahoy. I don't know. You tell me what you think. I'd love to hear from you. Please comment down below. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate your time today. I'll see you next time. So long, everyone.